Welcome back.
Welcome back
to the Great Imposters podcast. It's a beautiful 1,000-degree day here in Nashville.
Literally 1,000 degrees.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have such a fun episode today. We have an amazingly beautiful, stunning, fabulous, gorgeous guest. And before we start, if this is your first time joining us, hi, my name is Joelle.
My name is Annie.
And this is the Great Imposters podcast. Our podcast was born out of two friends conquering their imposter syndrome and just doing the thing that they actually wanted to do instead of just talking about it and then not doing it. Mm-hmm. Crazy, right?
Crazy.
So what we do here is we just like to have the conversations that you're having in your head, but we're having them out loud with friends on a couch with guests. And welcome. Let's get started. So today our guest has the coolest story, and she's also just a fabulous person. Welcome to the podcast. Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. Jessica Figueroa.
Did we do it?
Did we do it?
I think you said my last name great. I've never heard it said like that before, so it felt really good.
Okay, good. So behind the scenes, we just practiced saying Jess's last name for like 15 minutes to make sure we got it right.
Well, what's throwing us is that there's that song, Figaro, which we've done a lot of. We've also done a lot of like, ancestral, Wikipediaing and Googling behind the scenes too.
Yes.
But both the Spanish version and the Italian version, it comes from fig trees. So there's a lot of fig symbolism in your life.
And I don't like figs, so this is great.
We're going to unpack this throughout, though.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
If you've never heard the name Jessica Figueroa, you might just know her as Figgy if you are a fan of Survivor or Squid Games or other things. So that's figs. Yeah. She's actually a global ambassador for figs, even though she doesn't like them. Yeah. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be on this couch with you all.
Yay! I love it. We're very excited to have you. So we love to start our conversations with an icebreaker. It's our corporate backgrounds that just we can't quit it.
We can't not break the ice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm going to break the ice first. If you're watching on YouTube, you might notice my burns. Stop looking at them. I splashed. I was cooking salmon the other day, and I just the way I do it, I guess is just not well because I've burned myself more than once. This is the worst one. And
this is a recurring injury.
I did one on my head too. Remember that time?
Oh, yeah.
But that was small. It was like a dot splash.
Yeah.
This all over my arm.
Salmon just splashing around in that pan.
So much.
Was it alive
splashing.
when you put it in there?
Basically.
Is that the
I feel
first?
like it was.
I mean,
the first mistake.
But anyway, I don't just have rogue growths all over my arm. All of a sudden, I happen to have been burnt.
The splash burns are a bummer because they're circles.
I
so
know.
It's like from a distance, it's like measles, leprosy.
Thank you so much for the reassurance.
But we know it's not.
No, we know it's not.
I
Anyway.
wouldn't have noticed it had you not said anything.
Okay,
But
good.
I appreciate you being like, if you see these.
If you see these, this is what they are.
Stop looking.
Okay, we're gonna do we love an icebreaker. We're gonna do a Survivor themed icebreaker.
Oh my.
And we're gonna say, okay, so let's say you're on a deserted island. I'm sure you've been asked this question before because you were on a deserted island.
I was.
7 years ago?
8 years ago.
8 years ago. Okay.
7 sounds better.
So So what are the 3 things you're bringing? But we're gonna go lifestyle. Don't answer it like I'm gonna bring my flare gun and my canteen. No. Do it funny. Do it fun.
Okay.
Products, food, things that are in real life.
Okay.
What are those 3 things you cannot live without?
Can I bring my dog?
Sure.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Great answer.
Cookie is coming. If you know me, you know I love Cookie, and Cookie is coming.
Cookie's
for the ride.
coming. Okay.
And I will make sure he survives with me.
What kind of dog is Cookie?
He's a mix. He's like this little tiny old man. He's 8 as well, and I'd say he's like Maltese. I think he's Cochonde Chuliar is how you say it. It's a fancy little breed. I know.
Just like Figueroa.
I know.
Yeah.
Cochonde Chuliar.
Ooh.
And I think he might be a little terrier. He's got a little terrier belly, so we don't know what he is, but he's the best.
Okay, so he's
Show you
pretty
pictures.
portable for a stranded desert island
For
trip.
sure.
Perfect.
And he was once a stray, so he can hold his own.
Oh.
He probably will find. Yeah, he'll find me food.
He's gonna teach you things.
Yeah, he'll teach me some things.
Okay, that's good.
What else would I bring? This is hard. I think I'd probably bring some music.
Okay,
Yeah.
love
I
that.
guess. I don't know.
To vibe out with Cookie.
Yeah, sure. Because Cookie and I would just be dancing. And then you said I can't do anything survival, and that is so hard.
I know. It's just too cliche to say.
I know, because my mind's like a tarp, but that's
right
for shelter. I guess probably some sunscreen.
Smart.
Yeah.
Fine, because you do fry out there. So
Totally.
Yeah, and there's nothing more miserable
Than being
than being sunburned.
Cookie brings the vibes, and I'm going to protect us from the sun. and then we'll be dancing the entire time until we get rescued.
That's the honestly, you answered that perfectly. That's the essence. I wanted to see like what your story is. Like, what's the activity? What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What's your answer?
I would bring my middle child, Maggie, because
oh God, now I feel bad because I would have brought my fiance. I didn't know we could bring people.
I would have
cookies.
I would have said
I love you,
I
babe,
would have
sorry.
said no people, but go with it.
Okay.
Go with what
I
you
would
think.
bring Maggie because like she's really smart and she's one of those kids that like sees patterns that I don't see, and so I think she would help. You know,
Yeah.
She'd also be able to like provide a lot of. We'd be able to like play games and stuff. You know, the other two would be a lot of stress. And then I was also gonna say SPF because like I'm a ginger and it's like no joke. And even if I was gonna die on the desert island, like I would not want to go down sunburned. You know.
Yeah.
No. So how about instead of SPF, I will say.
You can say it. You can say SPF.
Okay. Thanks, Joel.
You're welcome.
Thanks. I'll say SPF. And then I would probably need to bring like a notebook or something because I'm always writing.
Ooh.
And like that's how I process because I'm such a creative.
You are such a creative.
So I'd need to process my experience on the island.
I love that.
Through writing. So Maggie, SPF, and a notebook.
Awesome.
And then she would be like really pissed I didn't bring any toys.
True.
Yeah, but there's coconuts.
Honestly, that
are
notebook
coconuts.
though, you could write like SOS if you really need
True.
it.
True.
What comes by? Really
Yeah.
smart. Didn't think about that.
Okay, so mine, thanks for asking.
Yes, you.
Is okay, so I'm gonna bring Bon Swedish fish.
Oh my God.
They're my new obsession. Annie's obsessed too. It's you know how everyone's obsessed with Swedish candy right now? I just can't
Wait,
really.
I didn't know that.
I
there's
didn't
like
know that
Oh no,
either.
there is
Thank you.
a
I didn't know
there
that.
is a Swedish candy renaissance right now.
Oh,
Yes.
I thought it was okay. Cool.
It's not the Swedish like the
Okay.
red ones.
Yeah, no.
no.
You don't need that.
These
It's
are
just like
Bon
Swedish-
brand from
Okay.
Sweden. Swedish fish. They sell them at Little Rad Market in Belmead.
Okay.
They like I can't really explain the joy
So good.
when I bite into them. So it's like I want that. Like I'm not a survivor. I'm going out probably in a couple days. So it's
Yeah.
like if I'm going to go out, I want to go out like
They're
eating
gonna
the
run
things
out.
I want. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
Okay.
doing Bon.
Okay.
I'm doing an eyeshadow palette because I can sit at a vanity and for endless hours to experiment with eyeshadow.
Okay.
So like that's what I'm just thinking to kill time, like get my juices flowing creatively. I'm gonna
Yeah.
like create a
In
bunch
case
of
you
eye
survive.
lists. Yeah. And then eye looks. And then the last thing is my phone with only the TikTok app programmed to it. So I can just like eat my Swedish fish, scroll TikTok, like enjoy myself.
Okay.
Do my eyeshadow and then die in a few days because there's no way I'm gonna
I
survive.
feel like that's such a Gen Z answer, but I'm here for it.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
serving on the
Yeah.
island, you're gonna die, but you're serving.
I'm
Yeah.
serving.
So,
Yes,
it's great.
I love
So
it.
you'd be using the phone as your eyeshadow mirror.
Yes.
Okay, because that was my
Also
next question. I was like-
also the mirror on the compact,
Oh right. Okay, because that was my next question. I was like, where are you going to find something that has a reflection
the water.
or the water?
Yeah.
Oh,
I kind of want you to
beautiful.
apply for Survivor.
Oh my God.
Based on that answer,
there
I
is-
watch you out there.
it would be a very short stint because I'd be gone in the first hour.
Or it wouldn't. Like, who knows?
Who knows? Oh my
knows?
gosh. Well, we'll never find out.
Yeah.
So with that, Jess, we're so happy to have you here. We're going to go Jess or Figgy. What do you want us to call you in the interview?
Just call me Figgy.
Figgy. We love it.
Figgy
Okay.
Fig.
We're friends, Figgy.
Figgy. So Figgy, tell us and the audience, just give us your stats. We always say start with your stats. Who are you? What do you do? Where do you live? Anything else you want us to know about you?
Okay, my social security number. No, I'm
Yes.
kidding. Okay.
Yes.
Jess
Everyone get a
Figueroa.
pen.
Yeah. Here I go. I'm kidding. I almost said the first letter. I won't even give you that. Jess Figueroa. My name is Figgy. I'm 31 years old, originally from Indianapolis, Indiana. I moved to Nashville, Tennessee 10 years ago when I was 21, and I had only $50 in my pocket, no savings.
Wow.
It was crazy. I'm still here.
You're still here.
Surviving
Yeah.
like you on the island with your bonbons. That was basically me when I was 21 here.
Yeah.
I was surviving on nothing. But I'm sitting on this couch with y'all, so life is good. I teach 6th grade science, and I love my job. And I competed on CBS Survivor in 2016, Millennials vs. Gen X, and I competed on Squid Game: The Challenge on Netflix last year.
So insane.
Yeah.
Like those,
It's just
and
the craziest.
it's the craziest. Like there's,
Stats.
it's almost like what do you ask after that? Because it's like
Yeah.
there's so many directions. So I think I really want to get to the origin because I don't know anything about like Lil Jess, Lil
Yeah.
Figgy. When Lil Figgy was a Lil Fig,
In Indianapolis,
A little
Indiana.
pruny thing.
when you
Yeah.
were just a little pruny fig, what did you want to? Did you always have this like sense of adventure in you? Like what did you want to be?
Oh, it's so funny because when I was little Fig, shout out to Wanda White, my third grade teacher, I always wanted to be a teacher. Oh. I always wanted to be a third grade teacher in particular. But
she made such an impact.
Such an impact.
Wanda White.
Wanda White. I'm going to tell her. I'm giving her a shout out on this podcast. Yeah, I love She'll watch it. She'll watch it. She's my number one fan. I love her. Like I could FaceTime her and she'd pick up. She's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah. She's coming to my wedding. She's great.
Cool.
So she made me want to be a teacher. But obviously, you know, growing up before I knew her, I was like, I want to be an actress. I want to be a model. I want to be a basketball sideline reporter, you know, things like that. But
pretty girl jobs.
Yeah. Once I met her, third
the
grade.
Erin Andrews generation. We're talking to the Erin Andrews generation.
Yes, that's right.
Erin, if you're listening, you had an impact. Well, I mean,
She didn't.
she didn't. Okay, bummer.
Never
I guess
mind.
it was too late. But.
She didn't, but that's okay. I grew up, I played sports growing up. So I just loved sports. But she's great. But yeah, Wanda White, third grade teacher, that was going to be me.
Okay. Wow.
Cool.
But were you like climbing trees and like doing crazy shit?
Were you adventurous?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, we never went camping or anything like that, but I grew up watching Survivor.
Okay.
So I was diehard fan.
You were? Okay.
You were a fan before.
Die hard, glued to the TV. That's why I have terrible vision now.
Oh my
I have like really strong contact prescription.
Oh man.
It's a problem. But I grew up watching Survivor, and then that's what kind of led me to apply later on, encouraged by my mother to do it.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, that's a twist right there. I feel like when we talk to a lot of people on the podcast who have done anything that's like a big risk, like going on Survivor is, literally and figuratively, you often hear that their parents or their loved ones were like opposed to it, but your mom was supportive. She was like, do this.
Yeah.
I love that.
Funny enough, Nashville Shores is where I was. I'll never forget this day. We were on the lazy river and I was wearing a Survivor buff. My sister bought it for me and it was like a memorabilia buff that had like all the seasons on it, and I was just wearing it.
What's a buff?
I don't know what a buff is.
Okay, so
It's a buff.
Memorabilia, you nailed.
I say words weird, so sometimes I was like, did I say
Like,
that
is
right?
it? Are we saying shirt?
Huh?
Was it a shirt?
No, a buff is like basically it's like a neckerchief or something. You wear it around your neck, and then you like can put it around your.
Got it. Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's
Yes.
kind of like a gaiter, if you will.
Okay.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Hold on. Wait. Is it, so do people often wear them in water settings?
They don't wear them in public like me, but
Okay.
I was at the water park and I just had brought it and was wearing it.
Okay,
My sister got it for me. I was like, I'm going to wear this out.
Got it.
Okay. Got it.
No, you don't see people walking around. in
Okay, I was
buffs.
like, I thought we were missing out on some like sun protection thing. that we
No,
didn't
but
know
you should
about.
look into them probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
they're
like
great.
bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, you
Sorry.
can wear them ATVing to like protect yourself from dust.
Got it.
and stuff.
Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know
So-
us, we're always ATVing.
Yeah, all the time.
Always.
All the time over here in Nashville, Tennessee. So I was wearing that, and a little girl came by me and my mom and was like, "Were you on Survivor?" And I was like, "No." And I looked at my mom. I was like, "But I'd probably be really good." And she's like, "You should apply." And I was like, "I should apply." And then I think I went home and made an application and sent it in, and the rest was history.
So you didn't know anyone? Like no one? No, like you went blind into the
I went
application?
blind, yeah.
Oh
I made
my
like
God.
back in the day, you had up to like 3 minutes to make it. I think it might be down to like a minute and a half or 60 seconds now, but I made this 3-minute video like hyping me up. I was like, put me on there.
Oh
I had no muscles. And I was like, look at my muscles. And they put me on. And I was like, all right, here I am.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So do you remember where you were when you got the call back that you were?
I do. I was in my car, going to, I think it's Al's Deli in Nashville. I don't think it's open anymore. It's called like Big Al's, and it was in Germantown.
Okay.
But I was going to get a sandwich there, and I had a missed call, and it was from production. And I was like,
God.
oh my gosh. And I called them back, and yeah.
Did you have to do? Sorry, I'm like so logistical. I'm like, what's a
right.
buff? What does it prevent? But did you have to do multiple interviews, or was it like?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was
Okay.
a process.
Okay, tell us about. I'm so curious.
No, so it was a whole process. So
Okay.
I apply. I had to like make some adjustments to my video, and then I sent it in like maybe 2 extra times. Sent in some photos that they requested.
Okay.
And then I had a couple more phone calls, and they were like, "All right, we're gonna fly you out for an in-person interview." And they flew me out to LA. There's like 40 other people there. So it's like, game is on. I'm trying to get selected, like get out of my way. No one could talk though. It's like, it's very hush hush. You're at your own table. Okay. We have our own individual schedules. You can't talk with anybody. It's very serious business.
Intense.
And so they would be like, all right, we're going to walk you up to this room. And then I'd walk into a room and it was an interview that I was having with Jeff Probst. And I was like, okay, like I'm sitting down with the host and he's asking me questions to see if he thinks I would be good and if I'm a good personality. And then I would go back to my room and then all of a sudden they would knock and be like, all right, you're going to this room. We're going to escort you. All of a sudden I'm laying on a doctor's table, like getting a shot. And I was like, okay, is this a good sign? Like they're giving me like a vaccine of some sort. Yeah. I don't even know what you're putting in my arm, but do it. I'm a millennial. You can stick me with whatever. It's okay. It's like an adventure of a lifetime. Sure. And like day after day though, we would start to see the numbers dwindle down.
This was multiple days.
Oh yeah, it was like, I would say it was like 5 days we were out there.
So it's like Survivor before the Survivor?
Yeah. Okay. And then that last day, they take you to like CBS, they walk you up these stairs, and there's a room with about like 30 producers and executives and all the things, and Jeff is in there. I think somebody else was in there that was really important. I'm forgetting their name, but that's okay. But you're just sitting in the room and 40 people are just looking at you. And they're like asking questions from every which way of the room. And at some point they asked me a question about my tattoo on my finger and I flipped them off on accident because it's on my middle finger, but they loved it. They were like, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And they like laughed, they ate it up. And then they threw me on an island in Fiji. And I was like, this is great. Wow. But it took time. I mean, from where I applied and started talking to him was August. And then I got a phone call beginning of March that was confirming everything. I mean, I had to send outfits and they were like, nothing's for sure yet. Nothing's for sure yet.
Oh, wow.
I send these outfits. Gosh. Nothing's for sure yet.
Because wait, August to March?
August to March. And then they called me and they're like, you're leaving in 3 weeks. I was like,
whoa.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Did you have a job at the time? Well, did you have to make any hard decisions? I was working in
the restaurant industry.
Okay.
So I was like,
did you just quit?
You're like, see ya.
I told them I was doing a photography gig in LA for 4 weeks or whatever, however long it was. And like then I wanted to come back. Yeah. I lied. Yeah. And they're like, okay, that's fine. And then when I came back, they're like, where were you? We know you weren't in LA. I was like, I can't talk about it.
Oh. Right. Because you couldn't talk about it.
Yeah. Did you have to sign an NDA?
Yes. Oh, and it's so funny because the second time around when I did Squid Game, like Austin and I, my fiance, we were going through the contract like hardcore. Yeah. When I was 23, I was like, I'm not reading this 100-page thing, and I just signed it, and I had no idea what I was signing.
Did you get paid?
Yes, Survivor, you get paid per level that you make it to.
Got it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which is nice.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah. So it wasn't like I was just doing it for nothing, you know?
Yeah.
And you were 23, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you feel going into that? Were you scared, or were you just like, I'm winging it, I'm here, I can handle this?
So the theme of my season was millennials versus Gen X. So I think I just had like this mindset like, oh, I'm ready. Let's go. I'm super competitive. I'm very, very competitive. So I honestly didn't want to be on my tribe. I was locking eyes with some of the Gen Xers originally before we were arranged into our tribes. And I was like, well, I guess I got to make some new alliances here. And I don't think I was scared at all. I was just really pumped and I was running off adrenaline. So I had no fear, which is one of my, I don't want to show. It's a foot tattoo. You're not getting my feet for free on here. Sorry. Nope. But it says no fear on my right foot. So I just was going in with that mindset. Like, let's do it. Let's have the adventure of a lifetime. And my family was really supportive of it. So I just wanted to do all the things.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So no imposter syndrome.
Well, I've experienced imposter syndrome for sure. Yeah. But when I'm in those situations, I think it's like, it's almost, it's adrenaline rushing. It's like, it's life or death. It's like, I'm trying to win $1 million. So I cannot go into this like weak-minded.
Yeah.
But you go in and like Survivor, you always think someone's talking about you and you start to get in your own head about like, okay, well, I'm aligned with Annie. Annie's going over there talking with Joe and we don't like Joe. So is she turning on me right now? I need to vote Annie out. Like that's how it works out there because you're hungry and you're tired and you're just fighting to survive. So you always think your number one is off in the corners, off in the bushes, trying to plot against you.
Wow.
How do you, like, do you operate well when you're hungry? I like can't even function.
I would say in that situation, I was okay. I think I was losing my mind a little bit, but it was manageable because once you get to the challenge, it's like, this is where we have to win or we have to vote someone out. So all you're thinking about is do whatever it takes to win and to get through so that way you don't have to vote anybody out.
There's just like always a motivator to get you through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was, I was good in that situation.
What was your first meal when you got home? Or I guess when you
when I got voted out, I think it was like chicken and fries.
Okay, just like
respect. I mean, I was limited. It was a limited menu. But then they took us out in Fiji, and your girl got steak and lobster and a baked potato. I was doing it all because this is on CBS's dime. I was like, let's get that lobster tail.
Yes, let's go.
Give me that margarita.
Yeah. So when you got voted off, they were like, okay, before your flight, we're going to take you out to dinner. Is that what you mean?
So they keep you there because they're like really diehard fans for Survivor. Like it is a whole kingdom of people.
Yes.
So like, and also if you're looking a little rough coming off a plane and there's like 10 of you, like you're like, what did y'all just go through? And like people can kind of piece it together. So what they do is
right. Okay.
Yeah. So
I was spoilers.
Spoiler alert, but it's been 8 years. So if you haven't watched it, that's your own fault. Okay.
Yeah.
Get with the program. I was in the first 6 voted out. So what they do is they moved us to Australia for 3 weeks. So I was in Fiji for a couple days, and then they moved us, all expenses paid for, to Australia for 3 weeks.
Amazing.
Yeah, but then you're on vacation with people that like you voted out, or maybe they voted you out, and it's just like that needs its own reality show.
Yeah, let's talk about the psychology of that. Was that awkward? Like,
yeah, because there's a lot of people that didn't get along, and at the time, like it's so fresh that people still have beef with each other.
Yeah,
and like I even had beef with people that were there, but like. We just had to get over it at some point. But for a little bit, like personalities are clashing and people don't forget. I mean, it's like, well, I voted you out a week ago.
Yeah.
Right? So.
And like, just because I have a steak in my belly, I haven't forgot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like that, you're right. Like that, I would watch that show.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking the whole time.
Yeah, them in Australia. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like, I see a lot of similarities between like Survivor and Congress. Seriously, it's like they all like vote against each other and backstab each other and do all this stuff, and then they have to sit in these rooms together.
Maybe we need to put them on an island.
Yeah,
maybe that wouldn't be the worst idea.
Yeah, make them crack open a goddamn coconut,
right?
Yeah. Okay.
So we could probably geek out over your experience all day, but I guess to kind of peel it back and get to some of the, just like what makes you, and because your trajectory is just so unbelievable, and we'll get to that. When you think about the question, what are you great at? Do you have an answer for that?
So I actually talked to my fiance about this because I thought I had an answer. And then he was like, you don't need to say that. I was like, okay, what would you say? And he went in the direction of like my career. And I wasn't expecting that.
I kind of want to hear what you said and what he said.
Yeah, so he talked about how I'm really good at, so as y'all know, I'm a teacher, but that I'm really good at getting kids excited, and I'm good at what I do. Like, I'm the teacher that stands on tables. I get kids to stand on chairs. I get the room pumped up to learn, because I just feel like I didn't have that in middle school.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to bring that energy.
You're the teacher that you wish you had.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure, like, looking back, I had, fine teachers in middle school, but none of them were standing on chairs making education, like, fun. It was just very, well, open up your books to page 86.
Right.
And, like, this is not for me. So I transformed that in my classroom. So kids are eager to get in my space.
Yeah.
So, and like,
that's not easy.
No. And I'm really passionate about it. And middle school's a really hard age as well.
Yeah.
But like, I love it. And I thought I was not going to love it at all. Cause I was supposed to be a third grade teacher. Now I'm in middle school. Yeah. And I was like, woo, I was a little hellion growing up. I was the kid that always got in trouble. I talk all the time. I got sent out of class left and right every other day. It was me or my best friend, Julius. So my mom always said, whatever you do comes back 10 times harder on you later down the road. I was like, I don't want to teach middle school. Well, I know.
Yeah.
I know. But then it was amazing for me. And I love it. There's never a day that I go in that it's like, oh, like, this is awful. This is work. I truly love what I do.
Wow.
So Austin took it in that perspective. And then we talked a little bit more, and I was like, well, like, I'm good at talking. And he was like, you're good at giving an opinion for sure. And I was like, tell me more.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good at giving an opinion. Yeah. But how he phrased it was, and I agree with this, I'm not afraid to let my voice be heard in a room. Okay. I could probably do a better job of, like, my facial expressions, because
I get that all the time.
People see like what I mean by looking at me, and I'm like, okay, I need to go about this a different way, but I'll always let my voice be heard in a room. And I'll always defend other people. and have people's backs. I'm a firm believer in that. And maybe it stems from me being bullied growing up, but like I'm a mama bear. I want to protect people. I want my voice to be heard. And I think that's what I'm gonna.
I love that.
There's like a crossover. Even though Survivor is voting people off in the end, you still talk a lot about those allegiances. So I'm sure that like your number one and the people that you made allegiances with, you were like, you had that mama bear kind of feeling.
Absolutely.
Which was probably so hard when you were like, are they over there under the palm tree talking smack right now?
Yeah. And it's when I think about my time on Survivor versus Squid Game, and a lot of people that followed my journey, like they watched me on Survivor, they're diehard Survivor fans, are like, oh, Figgy's on Squid Game, like let me watch that. I think they got to see an evolution of me.
Yeah.
Because 23-year-old me was like very much millennial. I was embracing that. We're like, let's go in the water. Who needs a shelter? Let's play. And like now I'm like, when I was on Squid Game, I was very much like, I'm here to win $4.56 million. And I'm here to like build alliances, build relationships with people, and help further our game as a whole. So it was just really beautiful to see that evolution of me.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I love that. I think about that all the time because well, just because you changed so much in that decade.
Yeah.
Like so much in that decade. And my husband and I have now known each other, I think like 12 years or something, but I met around the age that you were on Survivor, and you're just such a little brat at that age.
And you think you know everything.
And you think you know everything.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I was telling you, I rewatched a little bit this morning, and someone was like, Figgy is controlling. And I was like, oh my God. I am.
You must have very thick skin though.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because back then, like, there are trolls. Y'all know there are trolls.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Yeah, and I remember someone making a Twitter account for my mole. It said Figgy's mole.
Stop.
I will kill them.
Guess what I did? I followed him. You'll get a follow from me. I don't care. I'm glad my mole has its own account.
Yeah.
But people would say some really harsh stuff.
Gosh.
Really harsh. But again, that transformative period for me, like, then I got a lot of hate, but I could handle it. I had thick skin-ish.
Yeah.
Some of it hurts. Words hurt.
Yeah.
Sure.
But when I, going on Squid Game, it was more love. And that was really cool. I'm like, all right, the audience loves me. I got no hate this time.
I love that. So here's the kind of crescendo I want to talk about, because this to me is like why I wanted you to come on the show. And why I actually told Annie this a few maybe months ago. We were thinking about just different episodes and guests. We were having like a brainstorming lunch. And I was like, we have to have on my friend Jess. She was a Survivor cast off. She went kind of down the road of the influencer stuff a little bit, dipped her toe and said, not for me, and is now a science teacher. And the second I said it, Annie's like, we need to have her on. So like, talk us through that. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah. So I definitely dipped my toes, or tried to. And back then, like, Survivor, like, had the following it did, but social media wise, like, the castaways weren't getting like 100,000 followers like the shows like The Bachelor or other shows. Yeah. So I think I gained like 20,000. I was like, okay, maybe I can play some ball here with these numbers. And I tried, and it was really hard, and I wasn't feeling fulfilled in what I was doing. I also, which was really cool, I got a modeling contract with Wilhelmina, New York, and I was doing like sports and fitness modeling for them. I did 2 gigs, and I was talking to Austin about it, and I was like, I'm not feeling fulfilled in what I'm doing. I don't feel like it's purposeful. I don't feel like I'm making an impact with my life. And I think about this question. I think it's from Mary Oliver. I just heard this at an event, and it was, what do you plan on doing with your one precious and wild life? And I may have flipped the words, wild, precious life. And when I think about that, I'm like, what am I doing with my one precious life here? Like, I'm on my phone, I'm doing this, and I'm not feeling fulfilled. And there are some people that feel really fulfilled in that.
Sure.
But it was not for me.
Yeah.
And this is kind of relates to like the question about like, what was the catalyst that propelled you forward?
Yes.
And I think about 2018 when I was trying to still do social media, and I was like, man, reality TV, and I applied for MTV The Challenge. I applied for that.
Okay.
And I went through the whole process, Zoom interview, whatever, and I was told no. And I was like, okay, well, I had re-enrolled back to school, and I got into MTSU. Didn't think I'd get in because my grades were terrible. And I did. And I was like, wow, this is another opportunity for me. And then, weeks into the school year, it's at the point where it's like, all right, you can't drop now. Because if you drop, it stays on your transcript. It's an F or a W, whatever it is, and it stays with you forever.
Oh.
So then, guess who calls me on my phone? The Challenge. And they were like, hey, we have one more spot and we want you. Something happened. And I was like, I need to call you back. And I was driving back home from class, and I called Austin, and I was like, MTV called me and they want me. And get this, because this is crazy.
Okay.
This was MTV Challenge War of the Worlds, season 33.
Okay.
I was on season 33 of Survivor.
Oh my God.
Okay. Gets crazier. You just wait.
Oh my God.
So then, which I didn't put all these pieces together until later on.
Yeah.
So then I make the decision to say no to that because I wanted to be on a show. Like, I loved it. Growing up, I watched that show. I loved Cara Marie. I loved Johnny Bananas. All these people. Like,
my God.
That's great. It was so cool. And I love watching them. Mark Long. And I could have been on that, but it didn't align with my values and what I wanted and how I wanted to make an impact, a lasting impact. I'm thinking, man, if I want to be a teacher, like, I don't want my students to see me like on a show where people are fighting and hooking up and drinking and doing all those things. So I told MTV, I was like, you're not getting that with me. And that's why they wanted me. I said, I'm there to compete. I'm not there to party. I'm not there to have drama. I'm there to compete and win. And that's what drew them to me. I turned them down. I went back to school. That was really hard for me.
I'm sure.
So hard.
Got my degree. Been a boss teacher, for this will be my 4th year now.
Yeah.
Love what I do. Then I applied for Squid Game, the challenge last year.
Yeah.
My number on the show was 33.
Whoa.
Get out.
Do you have it tattooed?
No.
Is that your next one?
I don't know.
It's so significant.
It is. It's weird because I see the number 33 like so often now.
Wow.
So I think it's my lucky number, and I'm thinking like my 33rd birthday is in 2 years. I'm like, oh,
you got to go crazy.
Maybe I'll apply for another show somewhere. But I
Yeah.
just think, my journey, like, had I not said no, sure, I probably could have been in TV and doing more Instagram influencer things. But I felt like I needed to do what was important for my heart and what my passion was.
Yes.
And that was my moment where I had to say no.
It's just an unbelievable story, and it's such an amazing testament to your character and like you knowing who you are, because I feel like 99% of people who are usually what I'm trying to get at is the story's usually opposite. It's usually like, I'm a teacher or I have a desk job and I want the fame, I'm using quotes, the fame, the money, the recognition, the brand deals, the modeling contract with Wilhelmina. Like, these are things that people, I think, dream of. And then you have this kind of like opportunity for those things, and you're just like, this is a vapid, like, soulless life. And going back to my days at in Wanda White's club, is that her name?
Yeah,
Wanda White. Like, this is what I want to do, and this is like the impression I want to leave behind. So I feel like if you're a teacher listening to this, I hope that you feel really like convicted in what you're doing, because it's such important work. And especially if you can, get the kids on tabletops dancing and enjoying, we're going to have an entire episode on education because we have so many feelings on it.
Yeah.
Like, both our education growing up, now we both have children in school. So we do want to have an entire episode on that. So we have a lot to say, but it really is so unbelievably important. And educators are just like, there's no school without them. Like, they make or break the entire experience.
And how lucky are these students of yours that like you chose this and you're this enthusiastic about it? Like, you're going to be the Rhonda White for them. And that's so cool.
And I think too, like, when you were like, teachers like feel appreciated and all those things, I also think it's important. Like, I did Squid Game while I'm still a teacher.
I know. And
I can still do those things. You don't have to be defined and stay in your teacher box, right?
Yes.
Like, you can branch out and still apply. I did have to take unpaid time, but guess what? My administrators were so supportive.
Were they?
Like, they're like, yeah, that's amazing. Like, they were worried about like, so you will have to take unpaid time. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, they were making sure my well-being was like taken care of first and foremost.
Wow.
And then my job was like to go try to win $4.56 million on Squid Game, but also to like represent myself and my community really well. And like, they were just incredible. So I think like, if you have a dream, like, you don't stay in your box. You don't have to stay in a teacher box or whatever your job title is. Like, you should branch out and you should apply and do all those things while you can.
That's literally how we started this podcast. Like, we both have jobs, and we were like, I mean, it always comes back to that. It's such a full circle conversation because that's like what we want. That's kind of what we're doing here. Like, that's why we want to like inspire people listening and watching. Like, whatever you're doing today, like, if you want to do something, just do it, or find a way to do it, because it sounds like, I'm sure not every school would have been supportive.
No.
But you found a school that aligns with your values and supports you. So it sounds like it worked out.
Yeah. And when I think about your podcast being about imposter syndrome, I've felt that. Like, I feel like this whole time I'm like, oh, like, I'm competitive. Like, I know I'm meant to be here. But, like, I have felt that where when I did try to post on social media, I was like, oh, like, I'm, like, constantly thinking about what do other people think about me? I don't belong in this box. But it really was, what are my passions? Instead of, like, I try to force something and then recognizing, no, it's not like, it's me, one, negative self-talking myself is where that imposter syndrome for me was stemming from. And then recognizing like, okay, I just need to find my passions and then I'm not going to feel that way. I felt that way when I attended the Squid Game, the Challenge New York event for the season finale. They flew only 10 people out.
Oh, wow.
Out of 456 people. And I hadn't been getting invited to other things. So I was like, oh, I hope I get an email. And I got invited. And I was really excited, and it was the best time ever. Me and my friend Dash went and we bought a new dress for me, and I got to the nines. I walked a pink carpet, not red, it was pink. But then all of a sudden I started getting in my own head like, man, I don't belong here because of my placement in this series. I placed like 78th out of 456. I was out the third episode, and there were 10 episodes total. So I was like, man, I don't belong. But that's not why I was invited. I was invited because I made an impact. I was invited because of the way I made other people feel, my story.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's what I needed to remember. And the whole time I was like in my own head. And luckily I had people that surrounded me that was able to kind of pull me out of that and was like, no, like you are meant to be here. Because there are people that got out before me that were invited. And I was like, what are they doing here?
Yeah.
And they're here. I deserve to be here.
Yes.
And then I also think with imposter syndrome, as I'm touching my necklace, how I faced that is my mother. She passed away last year, not to bring down the mood. It was very unexpected. And she was my hype woman for me all my life. I never had to talk positively to myself because I could call her and she hyped me up. She hyped me up before Squid Game and everything. And when she passed, like I had to figure out how do I do what my mom did for me and I was at age 30. So like I've been going through this for the past year, trying to figure out how can I talk positively to myself? Cause that's where it stems from. So I have to catch myself and think like, what would my mom do? What would my mom say? And I have to pour that into myself. And that's been something that's been a journey for me, is not getting to the mindset that I don't belong, because my mom would literally call me and be like, stop. Like, you do belong, you are this. But I have to talk to myself the way that she would talk to me.
I don't even know what to say.
That's so beautiful.
It's really beautiful. It's like so
I'm surprised
sad.
I didn't cry.
So
I like I'm say that's strength from my mom. But like it's like I'll probably cry later, right?
Yeah.
Like it's really hard to
but
deal with.
But what a way to honor her.
Yeah.
Well,
truly.
and you're honoring her. I just keep thinking about the parallel too. You're honoring your mom through teaching as well, because if you were raised that way and you're able to talk to yourself like that, like that's coming through to the kids at such an impressionable age when they need champions. Like they need people, you know, why do I want to say riling them up? They don't need to be riled up. They need to be
pumped up.
Yeah. Thank you. And middle school is such a kind of forgotten time where it's like, it's puberty, you know, when they
so
need
formative.
that. Yeah. That's amazing.
I feel like this is a good time for me to pull out my green card that I have on the table.
Please.
Yes.
Okay, so if anyone's watching on the YouTube, Figgy has a green card and she was like, wait, I need to go get something for my purse before we start. And we have no idea what's written on it.
Yeah. So I asked permission from my student to read this out loud on the podcast, and they were like, absolutely. But I'm going to change it up a little bit just to make sure that people don't know exactly who it is, but I know that they would not care. This is a note I got from one of the first sixth graders I ever had. They're going to be freshmen.
Okay.
So if you know me, you probably know who the student is. So I'm going to read this out loud. It's my nickname from the student. They said, Figgy Fresh, I don't even know where to start. Coming into your room, I knew that I would really enjoy your class, which is low-key a lie because it was my first year. And they were like, I didn't know what I think of you. So yeah, for them to say that, I'm like, that's a lie. That's okay. I love you. What I didn't know was that from that day, I would gain a lifelong friend, mentor, and someone I could consider a big sister. I have watched you impact so many people for the better, especially mine. You create such a uniquely caring space for students, and that is something I will always remember. More importantly, I have watched you persevere and handle unimaginable challenges with strength as well as unwavering courage. I aspire to not only be a role model like you, but I also aspire to someday be able to inspire and encourage in the way that you do every day. I cannot wait to see you from the high school. I guess I'm changing this up a little bit. Love, or XOXO Gossip Girl. That's what we'll say.
Oh,
I have like tears in my eyes.
I do too.
That was really unbelievable.
Yeah, and that makes turning down the challenge, that makes all those tough decisions so worth it.
Yeah,
you know.
And I mean, when I got that, like that I have so many that are like this,
Yeah.
right? And that's just one that like I keep like close to my nightstand. I keep every note that my students write me.
Yeah.
And it like reminds me that I'm in the right space. I'm doing what I'm meant to do, and I can still go off and do other incredible things and be that role model for them. Because I don't want students to think like, oh, I'm just in this box and this is what I'm doing. Like you can have a career and you can also like make your dreams come true.
Yeah.
That's
We are multidimensional.
We are.
humans.
Yes.
That's really amazing. And thank you for bringing that and reading that. I thought that was a really sweet thing to add.
This is purely selfish and putting you on the spot here.
Love it.
But when I left my like corporate tech career, and I always felt like I had like a calling to teach, or a calling or whatever you want to call it. I just like really wanted to do that. And my husband he's a very supportive, wonderful husband, but he's always like, I don't think you can teach because I think you're going to get so pissed off at the system all the time. And so I'm curious what you said about like, you can make your voice heard or like you can stand up for yourself. Like, could someone like me who never knows when to shut the fuck up, like survive in education?
I think you can. I think
Okay.
it's about finding the right school that we talked about earlier. Like I made sure that I found a school, and it's a public charter school, and I wanted to make sure that where I was, my heart aligned with their mission and what they were doing in the community. I think that's really important. I think administration's really important. I'm in a master's program right now getting my administrative license, so that way if I ever want to do that one day, I could go down that road. But I'm obsessed with teaching right now, so I'm just staying in my lane at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think it's all about the community that the school builds. I think that is so incredibly important.
Because you have to have the support of your administrators.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think when I was back in school and I was in residency, the residency school was like, oh, do you want to work here? And I was like, thanks for the offer.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put you on hold for a second because it's enticing to jump at the first offer. I'm like, oh my gosh, they want me? Oh, that's incredible. I haven't even graduated yet. There's a reason that they wanted me because they didn't have enough teachers, okay? So I see what you're doing, but you know, luckily I was older than the other students that I was going back because I went back to school. And I recognize that. And some students actually jumped on that opportunity, went there and were miserable. And some of them don't even teach anymore because of that experience. Oh. So it's all about who you work for, their beliefs, where's their heart, how are they serving their students, how are they serving families in the community, does it align with me? Because my school's mission is we exist to empower a diverse community to live inspired and purposeful lives, and that's what I want to do. Yeah. So I was like, this is a no-brainer. Like, this is beautiful. Yeah. Sign me up now. Yeah. And I even try to like, this is funny. I was trying to be like, this is a low salary. And I was like trying to throw like a number back. How about we settle this for like, no, this is going to be your starting. So I was like, okay, that's it.
Like you drive a hard bargain.
I know. I was trying to be like, ooh, let's play around here. Let me like, thank you for your offer. I want this. No. This is education, girl. I was like, you're right. You're right. I'm happy to be here.
Right. Like that's a big part of it too, I think, is like, you are aware of kind of what you signed up for, and letters like that green note sort of can make up for some of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I love that.
I love it too.
You could totally do it. I think you'd be awesome in middle school, honestly.
Thank you. Because I've always wanted to do it. I don't know, there's just been a lot of like things that have made me think it would be great, but he's always like, I think you're just going to get mad all the time at like, you know, the public education system or the education system. And I'm just like, I'm an adult. I can bite my tongue.
Yeah. No, for sure you can. I'm not officially like diagnosed ADHD. Everyone just thinks I have it. And that comes out hardcore when I'm teaching. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like I'm all over the place because they're 11 and 12-year-olds that I teach, right? So like their attention span, I think there's a study that was like, it's between like 5 to 7 minutes that you have, and then their brains are somewhere else and you got to draw them back in. So it's a lot of like trying to like make sure that, you know, they're all with you. But if you've got the personality and like you can like fire back things if they dish it to you and you dish it back and they're like, okay, like, you know, Miss Annie over there, it's like, don't mess with Miss Annie, like, and you know, but they love that, they want that, they want to they want someone to have a conversation with them and not talk down to them like they're children. That's what I love about middle schools. I can have those real conversations and I can give them life advice and be there for them in that way, and not like I was mad respect for elementary and kindergarten teachers, but like I don't have the patience to teach you how to tie your shoes. That's why I'm in the right I'm in the right space.
My brother for the past like I feel like 15 years has been a middle school special ed teacher. So he's like,
it's beautiful.
He's like cream of the crop when it comes to teaching, for sure.
Beautiful.
I think it's also important to point out, even what you just said, Annie, that like teaching also has so many modalities. Like I've always had a teaching, like kind of leadership teaching passion inside me too. And I think how it's manifested is, I mean, this for sure, like kind of, I don't know if this is a teaching mechanism, but there's definitely some kind of, I guess,
imparting wisdom,
but also when I teach makeup classes, that's like when I am the most alive.
True.
You know, like I found the thing I love to do, and then like I love to teach it to people, and then for them to be like, wow. Like I had a friend of mine a few years ago going through a divorce, and I taught her how to do her makeup, and she like FaceTimed me from her car on her way to her first date after the divorce, and she's like, I just want to let you know, like it's been a tough year. I'm on my way to my first date, and just you made this really you helped me get through this, because you like taught me how to feel beautiful and like get out there, and I haven't dated in this many years, and you just like really had an impact. And I was just like bawling, and I'm like, fuck, I need to do this forever. Like that was my green note for sure. Like something, you know, that kind of stuff. It's like, it's not just the teaching, it's the impact. And like that I definitely have that in me too. The classroom setting would not be my modality of choice, but the teaching thing is there for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, this has been so much fun.
So much fun. You are so inspiring, girl.
You really are. You're the whole package. You're just such a beautiful person inside and out. We're so happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Figgy, is there anything else you can leave our audience with? We always like to say, like, for any of, I mean, yes, we're rooted in imposter syndrome. So whether it's about like someone feeling a little imposter syndrome or nerves, or like someone who wants to go on reality TV, or someone who wants to get into teaching, do you have any advice for everyone listening?
Yeah, I think I would say like that quote that I said at the beginning by Mary Oliver, what would you do with your one wild and precious life? I think like that is a question that you should always ask yourself. And I'm sorry, Mary Oliver, if I butchered that quote and the words are flipped, but it's fine. It's the same
it's the
emphasis.
Figgy, the Figgy remix.
Yeah, and I think back on my journey and how I made a pivotal move, and like it's never too late to go back. I think also like I got in my own head, like I'm the old person in the classroom, or I don't know if I can do this. And it's like, no, you can really do anything you set your mind to, but you just got to get out of your own way first is the most important thing. And I think that ties back to my mom's story. She was going back to school and getting her degree, and she got her, bachelor's, she got her master's, and unfortunately, she wasn't able to do, anything with it because she had passed, but like she went back in like her 50s and was doing those things.
Wow.
It is really never too late to accomplish anything. You just have to get out of your own way first. And I say that, and I'm still trying to get out of my own way at times, but it's about perseverance and having good people around you to uplift you, and just belief in yourself and that positive self-talk.
Yeah.
Well, you are beautifully carrying your mom's torch.
You are.
If we may say so.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wow.
Well, where can everyone find you?
At #Figgy. I'm not a full-time influencer, but I dabble.
Okay.
I dabble at #Figgy, really on everything.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
This has been Joelle.
This has been Annie.
This has been Figgy.
Oh, yeah. And we'll catch you next time. Bye.